good trans for whoever wants to buy it. It is gonna get that ratchet wrench's markup though, so.
Yeah, I think Austin torqued those pretty good.
Yeah, he did.
Damn, boy.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a long time and I apologize for that, but life's just been crazy. I think I posted on social media somewhere, updated you guys, but I bought a house, so it's just been absolutely nuts. The summer flew by. I didn't have much time to film or anything like that, but we are back. Make a long story short, Drew flew in from Ohio. He's here for the extended weekend, which I'm super excited about. He gets to see not only the new house, but we're doing some car shit, which we love to do, especially him. So earlier today, we didn't really want to film it. We were just hanging out. We fixed the water pump. My water pump broke, then the seal, everything was leaking. It was a big mess. So I really haven't driven the car in like well over a month, which sucks. But today we fixed it. As you can see, we're in the Mustang. Drew's driving the truck back there, and yeah, I'm super stoked to be back. We're heading to the shop where I work right now. We got heat, we got lifts because it's cold out tonight. It's gonna get down to 15. We're gonna show you guys how to swap out a 3650 from the GT I got here and put in a T56. I am super excited. I bought this transmission off Drew, and we got some more special components to it to make it safe and all that. And we're also going to be doing a few other minor things. We're throwing in a 0304 Cobra gas tank, which is going to be a game changer. It's literally brand new from On3 Performance, so I'm really excited about that. It's going to look awesome. And then, yeah, it's just going to be a fun overall weekend, and I'm super stoked, so let's get into it.
Psych.
All right, guys, as you can see, we made it in the shop. We got all our supplies down here, very organized, you know. We got the car racked, so it's up on the lift, and I'm pretty much gonna be manning the camera for, you know, the time being, and we'll let Drew kind of explain. I mean, this easy stuff's right in here. We're gonna get the shifter ball off and all that, get this prepped, and then the car's going up, and we'll just fire this thing right out. So without further ado, turn around.
Let's go, baby.
There we go. Let's come around.
So, under your shifter ball like so, very carefully, yoink that thing out. One connector for your cigarette lighter, yoink. There we go. And then
I'm gonna go around the other side real quick just to get a better visual. There we go, light yours better. All right.
Yeah, so all of the bolts and stuff were missing for that, so that was easy to get out. I think we got some 13 mils, and we're gonna yank this guy out, so we're gonna go grab that real quick. Oh, fell to the ground. Had to clutch dump that one.
I like your style.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if it was strong enough for it.
Man, this is the last we'll see of the stock trans. It's got like 114,000 on it. It's done me great.
Oh, she is in there, baby.
Oh, she's probably really in there.
Let's see here. We'll probably put it up, and I'll take a pry bar and just tap it, because that seal is, she's in there.
Yeah. We'll resume shortly.
Easy as that. All right, and then I think next we're gonna take this drive shaft out, and actually before that we're gonna drain it, because I don't like messes, so.
Draining time. Let's see how this fluid looks. I'm curious.
Hell yeah. Magnets f***ing empty. It's a good trans for whoever wants to buy it.
Yeah, might as well.
It is gonna get that ratchet wrench's markup though, so, you know. Instead of worth half a McChicken, it's gonna be worth a whole McChicken and maybe a 10-piece. Maybe.
That was quick.
Okay, so typically the best way to do this is with a 12.12 millimeter with a universal joint and an impact, but we can't find a 12 point, so we're just gonna do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, I think Austin torqued those pretty good.
Yeah, he did. And I'm always scared to hit anything this way. It's not like there's a priceless car in the other direction.
Damn, Austin, why'd you gotta use the gun on level 3, bro?
Dude, all the torques. Had to have been a Milwaukee.
Oh, it was.
We are turning the engine. That's what we're doing.
Few inches later.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Out she comes. Heavy girl, no more. She's seen it all, man. She's seen it all. What we got up next here, Dr. Drew?
Well, the thing I was going to talk about was, it's a good thing that we're getting in here anyway, because you got a pretty gnarly pinion seal leak,
Yeah,
and we're going in here to change that thing.
Oh,
and it's a pretty big size difference. This is the guy she said not to worry about. Like, I never actually looked at them up close. I thought they were the same size. I mean, I never really thought about it.
Yeah, until you got them side by side, I feel like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So now we're gonna take the starter out. We'll get the starter out, then we'll hang the trans. Once the trans is down, we'll pretty much take these bolts out. This trans is gonna be out pretty quick. For the most part, getting this starter out is much easier when it doesn't have long tubes and it has a K-member. So it's a 10 for the trigger. Make sure your battery's disconnected.
It's a good tip.
Definitely make sure the battery's disconnected.
You're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah. You're gonna have a bad day.
Real bad day.
What is the meme behind that?
Well,
You're gonna have a bad time. Oh, if you pizza when you're gonna French fry, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yep.
Might need a starter. The
Really?
solenoid shifted when I broke it loose.
Oh, lovely. Just add it to the list, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing we're...
Dude, I mean, every time I come here, I just
say it.
I just gotta empty your wallet at AutoZone, Harbor Freight, you name it.
Yep. Wherever the parts may lie, it's where the wallet goes.
Yeah, like.
But anyway, we'll pop this bad boy off and then get to the next step here.
Got the starter out. Thankfully, a swivel for the top bolt that's always a pain in the ass on the starter came right out. Make sure to always get these two bolts out. Over here. Yeah, it shows the light over. Yeah, always make sure to get these two transmission bolts out. People forget them and then they're wondering why the trans won't come out or whatever. Then, like I've talked about before, that clutch cable dust shield, the
Yep.
big one. We always want to keep those. Actually, it'd be nice to have on this one because mine, I couldn't find mine because I was an idiot and lost it.
Drew specifically said, do not lose it.
And I was like, hey, I said that because I've done it.
I feel like I've learned a lot of your mistakes and you've definitely said that.
Yeah, like I'm pretty good at them. Pretty good at making.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, that's how you learn though, right?
here's the part I might forget. So, I think this dude's a 9mm.
She may be a 9.
It's like, you gotta think about it, comment below. When was the last time you used a 9mm besides for your cordless hole puncher? I can't say the real word on YouTube. Okay, wait, so it's not a...
Alright, so what was it, 3/8?
Yeah, it was 3/8. You know, I don't ever like just go straight for a standard size socket on these newer, even though this is a, what, 2002?
2002.
Yeah, 2002. Most of the stuff on here is gonna be metric. So don't lose this guy, man. This makes trying to dial in your clutch cable tension critical. And having this thing move around will f you up, believe it or not. But somebody will say I'm an idiot. It's fine.
Boom. Get that shit out of there. We're just going along popping this harness off.
Doing a little bit of it in the dark that you wouldn't have been able to see anyway.
Yeah. Some of them are up there pretty good.
But you know, this is pretty self-explanatory. Remove your transmission harness before you remove your transmission.
Yep.
Don't remove it with the transmission.
Or you're gonna have a bad time. And your harness is gonna get all jacked up.
You're gonna have a bad time. All right, so now we've got all the wires unconnected for about as far up as we can reach. To get some leverage on being able to tilt the engine back, we're gonna loosen the motor mount nuts, but we're not gonna take them off. You can take them off, totally up to you, but I recommend leaving them on. And that's a 22. The OEM is a 21. But
I got the Maximum Motorsport solid motor mount, so
yeah, so if they send you a metric bolt, it's 7/8 or 22mm.
I guess Austin and I like to make Drew's job really fun. Over tightening shit.
I guess just being in school has made me a little bit.
Yeah, this dude's gonna be a freaking aircraft mechanic, man.
Yeah,
Big
dude.
stuff. He said cars.
They
We're
don't
gonna do some
pay.
cool shit.
They don't pay.
Yeah, they don't pay.
They look cool though.
They sure do. Alright, so we got that one loosened up. Plug over here.
Lack of leverage, folks. Lack of leverage.
Alright, so we'll loosen these up and get to the next step.
Okay, so now we're gonna take the trans mounts out. So. Oh yeah, I remember this one. All right, and this is kind of the leverage I'm talking about. Like,
Oh yeah.
now we should be able to get something just enough to snake it up there and get those two bolts up top. The nice thing about this is that once this job is done, if Wes ever has to service the transmission again, it's a 30-minute job.
Yes, sir.
Instead of a hour, 2-hour job for the standard person, I guess. Another thing too is that I let them down slowly at each time so it doesn't just come crashing down. The next thing I'm gonna do now is get the rest of these bolts. The two easiest bolts to access are right here. So we got this one, and then by the starter we got this one. I leave these in because as I put it onto the trans jack and try to back it out, those are so easy to get to, and the trans just can't just fall out. It's gonna catch on those bolts. And I'd rather it catch on the bolts and do that than fall on one of us. So,
For sure.
this is just some common sense stuff. But
So now just start ripping all these bolts out.
yeah, we're gonna go onto there.
Probably put a little time lapse, and then we'll show you once we're done. Head again. All right, what's up next here?
So we're gonna take the clutch out real quick, and then we're gonna put the new flywheel from the new clutch, because they're specific. That clutch came off of my car, and it was actually rebuilt by McLeod before it went in. The clutch has had a long life. It's on my GT500, in my car, now yours.
Oh, it was on the GT500? I didn't know
That car, yeah, I had it on GT500. I had it refreshed, and then I got like what, 2,500 miles on it.
Yep.
So, R.I.P.
Let's do it.
Ooh, smell the red latte, baby? I was saying, yeah, you smell it?
I smell it.
Hey Drew, you like brake clean? Get it nice and clean, bud.
Doing a brake clean bath.
That is quite literally.
I need a Modelo.
Day 2.
Okay guys, so it's the very next day. We've got our T56 here up on the mount. We were unable to source a clutch alignment tool. I guess it might have been lost in the mail when I sent it to him. Something happened. But we went to a parts store, couldn't find one. And instead we're actually going to use the actual input shaft from the trans. But a good thing about that too is that it gets us to show you, if you have a stock T56 out of your 03 or 4 Cobra, how to shim it when you convert to a 26 spline shaft. And what I mean by that is, if you didn't know, all Cobras come with a 10 spline shaft, even the Terminators. So most people convert it to a 26 spline, which won't snap, and you have to shim the input shaft bearing in accordance to that. So we're gonna get this cover off real quick and show you guys how that works. Smell that RTV? That's that gear oil RTV. So we got the input shaft out. If you've never seen the inside of here, it's kind of neat. If you get to look around, you know, you're not doing a whole lot here, so you can just inspect everything, take a good look at everything. You know, I put 2,500 miles on this case, so you know, not a lot went on. It's very clean in here. If you've never really looked at one of these, this is your input shaft. You would have your bearing right here. This is where it rides on the plate, and then this is your synchro gear. These are carbon fiber synchro rings. You kind of can't really see it, but it's a fiber material that will ride on this race, and it'll slide back and forth here. There's 3 teeth. I'm gonna put this down real quick, but as you can see, this is the gear. This arm would come forward or backward to engage the gear. There's teeth here right around the snap ring. You line those up. This has this much movement, and the teeth are similar on the input shaft, and as you can see, it'll move, and wherever the gear is actually at, those the teeth are kind of got like a triangular bevel shape on there, so that when it tries to go in, and the teeth are like that as well, it'll move it and line it up perfectly when you engage the gear. And that's how all the synchros are in here. But I did these carbon fiber ones. They tend to work better in higher RPM situations, like where Wes is gonna rev to like 7,500 eventually. Holly. That's next. Anyway, but I thought I'd talk about that just a little bit. It's kind of neat looking inside of a transmission like this if you've never gotten to. really not a whole lot to do here. You know, you're gonna take a razor blade, you're gonna shave all of this surface off really well. Make sure you get all your RTV off. Since we didn't talk about the bearing plate, we'll talk about that real quick. So you've got your races that sit in here and your seal, and when you're going to do this job, this race will come out. I'm not going to take it out because we've already shimmed it, but there are shims behind here, and they're similar to what you would get in a Ford. I actually will try to take it out if I can get it out easily, just for demonstration purposes. Might be fluid locked in there, but both of these bearings sit on these races right here. This one doesn't matter too much. You're not really going to adjust that one, but you are going to change the input shaft one. This race typically comes right out, and there's a couple shims behind there, and you will take this plate after you clean it off, line it up with the pins, put it back in, and you will check the play on your input shaft, and we'll show you how I have 0 play on this thing after I put it together. But that's typically all you're doing when you're converting from a 10 to a 26 spline. It's really not that hard. Anybody can do it, even though it might be a little intimidating to open up your transmission. It's not too bad. We'll go into that a little bit more, but for right now, we're going to move on to putting the bell housing and the clutch in now that we have our alignment tool. So next we're going to move on to putting the bell housing, clutch, and all that stuff on here. The great thing about the T56 against the 3650 is that the bell housing separates from it. And you can run the cast bell housing. Typically, if you're getting a T56 Magnum, you are already getting this shipped with you for good reason. It's FSFI rated. It's a safety approved bell housing. What does that mean? That means that if for some odd reason that the flywheel bolts were fractured or the clutch exploded, something, that flywheel is heavy and it is going to go somewhere. This bell housing is approved to contain it. Instead of it sitting through the roof, through the sides, or into Wes's legs. We don't want that to happen. So, like I always push, safety is critical. So spend the money and buy these products. I will always push them. It's better to be safe than sorry. So now on the first step of doing this, don't forget to put this on. You cannot put it on after you put the flywheel on. I've made that mistake. So we're gonna put this bad boy on. What's nice about it is it uses your original bell housing bolts and for the starter, and then on the bottom it has through bolts that completely contain and seal it all the way around the bottom. As you can see, that's what all these holes are for. So now we'll move on to putting the clutch in, and if you're wondering what this hole is for, this is compatible on a Coyote. This backing plate is. I think there's a specific bell housing for the Coyote, even though it's the same bolt pattern, but for the sensor, the crank sensor to be able to be read. So we'll get the flywheel now. So next, I know I said we were about to put the flywheel on, but I feel like I'd talk about the clutch a little bit. So this is an RXT 1200 HD. So this clutch is awesome. I've had this clutch in my swap GT500 car, which had a hydraulic slave cylinder. I had it in my car. It's now going in Wes's. This clutch is phenomenal. I think it has great pedal feel, good engagement, great drivability. It chatters a little bit like every dual disc, but seriously, everything these guys make is top of the line, and I've actually had this one rebuilt by them, and they did it for a pretty good price. This was a 1,000 horsepower clutch before, and then they upgraded it to a 1200 HD for a minimal amount of money. I love dealing with McLeod. We aren't sponsored by McLeod, but I'm just putting the shout out there. So we've got an aluminum flywheel, dual disc, surface mounted. So we're gonna get on taking this apart so we can put it in the car. Let's see here. think it's a 1/2 inch and a 7/16. No, it's a 1/2 inch and 9/16. I usually like disassembling these by hand. Another main thing that's important on this one is you have a paint strip, because since this clutch is married to this flywheel, it has a balance mark. Do not wipe this off. You might have a lot of vibration if you do. You've got a nut, a lock washer, and then a washer under each one of these. Don't worry about the wear. She's still a good clutch. One thing I can't stress enough is to be super careful putting yours together or taking it apart, because there are shims and spacers on this clutch specifically for how it's taken apart and putting back together. We'll go get this up in the car and get to rocking. I was about to say, I did not just put that on the right way the first time. Slightly off. Oh, is that the fit? That's the fit. All right, so now we got it torqued. Got our paint line, our balance line. Have to line that up. Lock washer and a nut. I don't believe the floater plate really gets engaged here, but I still hold it just in case. It's when we put the second one on where it really matters. Because that plate's still loose in there, even though we torqued our first ones. So now we're gonna put the other clutch on. Give me that unit. I think it's nice that we took the input shaft out, because now we have certainty. This is the that's going in it. Okay, we got the clutch in, we torqued it down, marked everything, made sure that our balance mark was lined up. We got our little input shaft in here. You need to make sure that this thing goes in there, in and out, pretty easily. It's a tight fit, but as long as it slides right in, just like that, you're not gonna have a bad time trying to put this thing in. So we'll lube this up right before we put it back on. So next we're gonna throw the bell housing on. This is one of my favorite parts because it just shows how easy it is to service this trans from now on. Hopefully you never have to, but it's just awesome. So now that's it. So we're gonna get all the bolts in. We'll talk about that real quick. So there's a certain set that goes in on each side because of how the bell housing is shaped. So that's some of that hardware here. So we got a couple of these offset bolts. These are specifically for your dowel pins actually. So this bolt has a standard spacer and it allows you to go around the outside of this guy right there and be able to squeeze her down. This one's a little odd shaped and offset because it's gonna be hard to see, but right up there, as you can see, the bell housing extends a little bit past that, so that's what this little offset guy is for. Let's see if you guys will be able to see this better. You know, that just sets right in there. And it allows it to have that spacer, but push on that, on the outside of the bell housing to push down on the dowel so it doesn't move around on you. The rest of your bolts are standard. Go straight in, no problem. And well, like, if Wes had this, like when we were doing the engine, we could have assembled all of this on the engine crane. We could have dropped it in just like this, and then we could have slammed the trans in. But it would have taken nowhere near as much time. But like, that's how I was doing mine, because I had to pull mine a bunch. Man, it's crazy how much easier these top bolts are.
You don't have to use 5 extensions in a wobble, right?
I don't have to pray to God and use 12 extensions. Les asked about this earlier too, what the difference between the two clutches is. Mainly this one is rated for power, but the biggest difference is that it's 10 versus 26. So if you did buy a stock Cobra T56 like that one over there, but it had the factory input shaft and nothing was modified to it, you could have taken his clutch or whatever clutch was in your GT and slapped it in there. But since it's a built trans and it's 26 spline and it's rated, this one's rated for more power, we had to change the clutch. But if yours is a 10 spline, you can reuse your GT clutch. Don't know how long it'll last, but I mean, if you've got an NA2 valve or a hot charged one or some toaster oven Kenny Bell, I mean, it'll probably live. Everyone's gonna get mad about the condition of the clutch and me shit talking non-intercooled 2 valves, but I mean, catching them things, having IET temperatures of that are equivalent to the surface temperature of the sun really isn't ideal. So, all right, cool. So now that we got this done, we would slap the trans in, but we're gonna move to the rear end. We're gonna change the pinion flange seal. It's leaking, and we're gonna put that pretty diff cover on.
Let's go.
I'm excited about that. Let's go. So the main thing is getting this pinion flange changed out, because this pinion flange will not work with the new drive shaft. It's way too small. Good thing is too that Wes currently has a pinion seal leak. So, but before getting started with that, we're gonna remove this counterweight. I don't know why exactly Ford thought it was a good idea to run these. They thought it was gonna be like a vibration dampener, but it really doesn't work that well. So we're gonna run this thing. And then this guy goes away too. And now we need to get this pinion nut off. Now we need a 2-jaw puller.
She a little dark, eh?
Yeah. Darker than my soul, man. You missed the one-liners, didn't you?
I think I got that one. Got it. Like I was telling Drew, I don't think this has been changed, or this fluid was new back like, I don't know, 8 years ago, probably longer. It's been a
I
hot
said,
minute.
was your gas tank seal new? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, when did you change it? Like a year, 2 years ago? Oh, I think 6 or 8.
I think we have a different definition of new.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, that worked pretty good. Good old new Mako little jaw puller.
Yeah, that thing worked beautifully. I'm gonna knock out that nasty ass seal. see.
Damn, boy. What just happened? I didn't even.
Usually, dude, they kind of. I don't. Ooh, yuck. That was fucking gross. Did you see that?
What was that?
Oh my god. Oh, what the f was that? What is that? Did that come out of there?
There's a lot of that's in here, so hopefully not.
Yeah, so this is your oil slinger right there. Alright, so we're gonna move to draining the rest of this piece of shit. Go from there. Yeah, damn. He really spent his time torquing these. Fuck, man.
I guess that's what you get for paying $300.
Well, I mean, lasted this long.
All that matters is it held up to the abuse up until this point.
Yeah, I mean, it never really had a problem, I guess. It just
Served its purpose.
ready?
Yummy.
Forbidden chocolate milk. Not the worst.
Yeah.
Really, it isn't.
I guess putting good quality gear oil in there helps.
Yeah. I mean, it's always going to be dark, and there's always going to be a little bit of metal in them. Just part of it. Seeing metal in your dish is not the same as seeing metal in your engine. Not even close. So, but look at that gear pattern. Looks awesome.
Yeah. Did a good job on that, I guess.
Yeah, the wear, you can kind of tell. Maybe that helps, but like it's darker here, and you can tell it's always road in the center here. Let's look at what the coast. Well, we can't look at what the coast looks like, but you can tell. And even in here, if you look in the pinion, right up there towards the center of the gear, you can tell where it's still got the cast, but then you can see where the gear is weared. And the gear is weared very, very well. That's nearly perfect, so he did a great job, whoever installed this.
Hats off to you, sir.
Yeah, this is a nice little wave track, right? Oh yeah, it's a Torsten.
Yeah, Torsten.
So, but
I think I bought that off Maximum Motorsports.
yeah,
Long time ago.
this is done well, and he's got preload on it. I'd be okay with that. I'd buy that. So you just saw us verify the torque on the backlash caps or the carrier bearing caps. The thing about these diff covers that's really unique is what these studs actually do is they have these little movable plates on them, and what they do is they rest upon the backlash caps. So they push against it and keep those in place and kind of support them, but they don't need a lot of torque. But before putting your diff cover on, you need to screw them all the way out so that they don't contact. And now we're gonna go put the cover on, but before that, you need RTV it. Alright, so this is what I was talking about, where the caps are. Fit right there. Light pressure. Light pressure. That's it. And then we're going to screw these nuts in. And we're going to torque them. Alright, so like we said, the the bearing cap. The studs get torqued to 5 to 10 foot-pounds to not cause bearing damage. So torque them to a good old 10 foot-pounds. Jam nuts are 35. Run those in. That's it. She don't.
She a beaut.
She's gorgeous.
Thank you, sir.
Look at
Probably
that
one of
beautiful pinion flange up front.
Yep. Putting all the shiny parts on today, really.
Yeah.
New gas tank, new pinion flange.
Oh yeah, gasser tank is next, didn't she?
Yeah. But that'll wrap up there, and then what are we doing next?
Yeah, we should. You know what? We should go ahead and slap the trans in.
Yeah,
I think
I'm with it.
that's the fun part. So
Let's do it.
all right, now that we don't need our alignment tool anymore, we're gonna get this thing in there like so. We got our synchronizer on here, perfectly lined up. I got some movement in there. Perfect. Perfect. Now that's all done. And we gotta seal up this case really well. We use gear oil.
This stuff sucks, guys.
Dude,
Just look at
it really
Drew.
does.
He's miserable.
I hate RTV. Yeah, so if you can, invest in a caulk gun. But usually this stuff, you got the special order to get it in a tube for a caulk gun, so.
Drew is finally done with RTV after 12 pairs of gloves. We got it all sealed up, ready to get the bolts in there. It's gonna be a ripper. So excited.
I'm glad we got to look in there too.
Yeah,
Make sure that everything's
It's
good.
a cool experience for me. I'm sure you've seen it.
Got the front cover torqued. Now we're gonna move on to doing the mount. We referenced our instructions. Since we have the drive shaft loop and the mount, it has us put it in a particular order, the bushings and bearings. So slide them in here and get our one piece in. This is kind of hard because it's so wide. Okay, so now we've got the mount on. It's kind of a pain in the ass. But one thing we didn't really talk about was the harness. So if you're putting this trans or Magnum into your car, odds are you've probably been worried about like what harness do you get for the trans. Most of you SM95 NewEdge guys, you're not going to need to do anything. You're going to have one pigtail for the reverse light, which is over here. I already converted it and I gave Wes my old harness so that he wouldn't have any problems. But the reverse lockout is always a touchy subject. So you can get a manual one off of Amazon for like 35 bucks, which is what we have right here on this side. Essentially this guy right here, you see this little valve. I'm gonna try to actuate it. Maybe can't really see that well. But anyway, yeah, you push that ball in, and you gotta, even with my hand, you gotta put a good amount of resistance in. Makes you not miss fifth, that type of stuff. So fifth, sixth. All right, there, went into neutral. Also, don't ever forget this thing. You absolutely need that. You'll wonder why you're missing shifts. That's pretty much it. I think we're good to slap this thing in there. I mean, we've kind of taken our time, make sure we've crossed all our T's, dotted all our I's. But we should be good to go. I'm ready to see how this will drive for you, man.
So
I
excited.
love this thing. It was definitely one of my favorite things about my car. So let's slap this in there.
Let's do it.
We're almost done with the rear mount, but there's something I wanted to touch on really quick because we almost missed it. So when you have your clutch fork, this is your throwout bearing, all right? So how this is orientated is pretty important. You've got these prongs here, and most people think that they go on the inside of it. like that. No. A lot of people, including myself, used to make this mistake. They go on the outside. This is very critical. Right like that. Then you actually have proper load on it and it can pivot on something and it's spring loaded. But do it like that, slap it onto here. Officially got a T56, bud.
Let's get it.
Woo!
Looks so good.
Now the easy part.
Oh yeah. Boom. Shoe buddy. In we go. Wasting no time.
Oh, these are so convenient. Somebody should name a YouTube channel after them.
That's a great idea.
Fuck, man. We're just geniuses, aren't we?
Yep.
Alright guys, I'm gonna go under the car rolling shot. Thanks for being on a lift. Beautiful bell housing, beautiful T56. Beautiful Stifler's components. Got that drive shaft in. No leaks. Nice and brake clean. And then last but not least, beautiful diff cover. Getting the drain plug in, gonna fill her up. Man. Got a whole makeover today. It looks so good.
These things are a freaking lifesaver. I mean, if you've ever had to hand pump diff fluid and you just
Boom.
right in. Well, hell yeah, now that's done. We'll fill the trans up and get to drive this thing, and then I think we'll do the gas tank tomorrow. The gas tank's nothing really special. It's just this GT tank doesn't have any baffles in it, so if Wes goes below a half tank, there's not enough fuel in there when it sloshes around to keep the pump from cavitating. So I got him a tank that has all the Cobra baffles in it that'll allow him to go below half tank, or even just in general prevent fuel slosh, static electricity, all of that fun stuff from happening in the tank. And yes, that is a real thing. Static electricity is generated from fuel slosh. So
Gotta keep them pumps cool.
yep, got to keep those pumps cool, make sure they don't aerate or cavitate. Just reliability stuff, big deal. So, you know, we'll get to work on that now. We'll lower the car down, put the shifter in. See how you like driving it.
Let's do it. All right, filling up the tranny.
This is going to take literally forever.
Yep, if you guys can see down there. So we're gonna fill this thing up with some juice and we'll be back shortly. All right, so we got all the beautiful Valvoline in there. Now Drew's just doing his favorite part. Getting that nasty RTV all sealed up. And we'll basically be done. We're gonna fire it up, give it a quick ride, make sure everything's good, but no leaks so far.
Cycle gears.
Oh, baby.
Like that clutch? Isn't that better feel? Yeah, I love that clutch. Love that switch.
Yeah.
Favorite thing ever.
All right, everybody. It's a few days later from when Drew and I installed the T56 and the turbo 2 valve here. The weather's been a bit crazy. A lot of snow and rain recently, and it's been really cold, so haven't been able to really get the car out. But today, oddly, it's like 60 degrees. So I figured what better day. Got the car cleaned up a little bit from it sitting for a while and then being in the shop and being so dirty. But I'm gonna take you for a quick ride on the closeout here and see if you can really hear this T56 in action. It sounds wicked in person. I hope the camera can pick it up because it's got a little whine to the gearing, and man, I'm loving it so far. I've really only driven it back from the shop and then once or twice more, so not too much. So it's gonna be a pretty new reaction for me on the camera here and showing you guys, and we'll wrap this video up here. So let's start this baby up and let's hit the road. Turbo 2 valve. It's been a hot minute. The weather's just been wild here. Well, it feels good to be back, and she's sounding healthy. So we're gonna just go for a little ride and show you guys what this new T56 is all about. Also, this RXT 1200 McLeod is a wee bit more stiff than the one I had in here before, but it feels really good, and you got to be aggressive with it. So threw her in reverse here. Oh man, it's so notchy. I love it. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's like whining a little bit. Oh man. It sounds so freaking good. I just love how this transmission feels. It's, like I said before, notchy and just stiff, but that's a good thing, especially when you're trying to bang gears. The old 3650 was definitely not like that. And it just felt kind of loose, loose as a goose. So this one is quite the opposite. And we're in fourth right now, going like 40 miles an hour at 2,000 RPM, so it's perfect. And I got a whole nother gear, 6th gear. Haven't really used that too much, but it'll be nice on the highway for sure. So I'll try and shift into 5th here. This is a little adjustment here. It's very just up over just a little bit and then, you know, up into 5th. Before it was literally like going into reverse for the 3650 in this transmission, so that's a little getting used to. Telling me when you downshift, try and do it here. You gotta really, she likes it rough, you know. You gotta give her a little, give her the gas. I think it's gonna rain, so I should probably get back pretty shortly. But yeah, I hope you guys can hear that little whine in the gearing. It's just, it's so badass. Turn here. Hear it on the downshift and that sound. Neighbors eyeing up the car. Oh yeah, that guy's always working on some cool stuff. Oh man. Heck yeah, man. I freaking love this car and the transmission. It's so good. Alright guys, so that's going to wrap up this T56 transmission install, kind of little review at the end here. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and we'll see you next time. Peace.